put my microphone not on mute like I did the last time. Hi guys! Thank you so much for joining me. My name's Sam and my company is called Mum's Makery, and I do needle felting, and I make needle felting kits, templates and tutorials for all manner of needle felty things. I'm so happy to be here on the Creative Craft Show. This is the first time that we've been here, so fingers crossed, despite the microphone hiccup, we won't have too many technical difficulties. So it's an absolute pleasure to be here. We will be making, let me just grab this down here. We'll be making this little needle felted brooch, and I will be showing you all the steps that I use to make this. And for those of you who don't know Mum's Makery, I predominantly do design and create templates for 3D felting, and they look as a little something like this, and they're specifically designed to work with needle felting. One question that I do get asked a lot is, can I use cookie cutters? Yes, the short answer is yes, you can. You can use cookie cutters, and for certain shapes they are absolutely brilliant. For big, wide, open shapes where you've got you haven't got a lot of detail. One good example that I can give you is a holly leaf. If you were to use a holly leaf cookie cutter, you would end up with something that was a little more like a holly blob, and you would have to spend an enormous amount of time refining that shape so you got really nice points and things. What I do is I design the templates to work with needle felting. So when you do a holly leaf, you actually do get something that looks like an actual holly leaf. So then you don't waste too much time having to try and refine shapes. Just for those of you who haven't seen any of the broadcasts before, this is not a fashion statement, I promise. This is Pixie Bee, and Pixie Bee is one of the Makery pixies, and generally she's the one who sits in my ear on a broadcast and points out all the things that I'm doing wrong and all the things that I'm forgetting. So if all of a sudden I get this weird look on my face, it's because she started going, but you're not doing this. So we will try and get through it as painlessly as possible. There are a couple of Makery pixies also flitting about in the live chat. I don't or won't necessarily see all of the questions, so I've asked them if they'd pop in, and if you've got any questions, feel free to ask away. One of the Makery pixies, that would be Pixie Hayley, maybe Pixie Sue is in here somewhere, I don't know, and of course Pixie Bee. We'll try and answer any questions that you've got. If there's something that you specifically do want to ask me, do type it in, and hopefully the little pixie in my ear will forward it to me, and I can answer any questions that you've got. But I do just want to take a second and just let you all know that ICHF events, obviously they are holding an autumn NEC Creative Craft Show, and it's a date for your diaries and something to look forward to. The tickets are on sale now at www.ichfevents.co.uk. You've got VIP tickets that are available, and I believe they're just £35. And for the VIP, you get a lovely seating area, and you get a shop and drop, and there's special VIP makes and takes. So there will also be measures in place based on the COVID-19 alert system, so that everybody will be able to enjoy the event whilst also keeping safe. So that's something definitely for your diary. And the other thing that I want to point out for you guys is they also have a Creative Craft Show live, which is the 4th and 5th of July. And there's lots of info about that all over their page, so check that out. That would be amazing. If you want to know more about me, my website is mumsmakery.co.uk. But I'm not going to waffle anymore. we're going to get straight into making our little buttercup brooch. I'm going to explain, though I know that there are many of you there who, you know my templates, you know my tutorials, and you know what I'm about to say, but there are a lot of people who may be joining us for the very first time. So I'm going to explain a little bit about templates and how I work with them as we go. So we're going to hop over to the close-up cam, and as I pointed out before, I make these templates, and one thing that I have, which I find is absolutely invaluable, is my little pocket scale. And you can pick up these pocket scales on a number of sort of eBay, Amazon, there's all different shapes and sizes. And what they allow you to do is they allow you to weigh out, this is 0.3 of a gram, and they allow you to weigh out very, very small increments of wool. So when you're working with things like petals, you can weigh out very accurately, consistent results. So you can weigh out 0.2 grams for this, and then if you're duplicating it and making another buttercup, you can weigh out another 0.2 grams. So I really do recommend the pocket scale if you're working, you know, if you want to create something and duplicate it, particularly when you're making a lot of petals. The other thing is that for all of my templates on the website, under projects, infos and downloads, you will find a what's the word I'm looking for, a link for weights and measures, and that gives you all of the weights and measures for every template that we use. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly show you what I'm doing for this buttercup piece. And to make the brooch, let me just get this little guy in here. We're going to be using our bright yellow wool. Sorry, I should mention that all of the weights and measures are based on our wool. So others may vary, and they're not set in stone, they're a good guideline. So we're going to be using bright yellow for the buttercup, and we're going to be using moss for the leaf. I'm going to start by making the leaf. Let me just clear my little bits. So I'm going to start with the leaf. Now, I have weighed out 0.3 grams, and it's not a lot. The templates don't take a lot. And what I start by doing is just pulling off a bit, and there isn't any weights and measures to this, and you do kind of get a bit of a feel for it. And I fold back the top, so I've got that sort of rolled rounded edge, and if you can see, the fibres are a lot neater. And I put that up into my template. Now I'm working on my flat mat with a felt topper, and I find that particularly since working with such small petals and things like that, the flat mat it's brilliant. There are lots of videos and things over on my YouTube channel which you can have a look at, and there's a bit on the flat mat and everything, so do have a look at that. But what I'm doing is very, very lightly. I'm using a 40 spiral needle. So a 40 spiral is a very, very fine needle, and I'm not, if you can see, it's not attaching to the surface. There's a few hairs, but that's all. And I'm needle felting this very, very lightly. I'm not driving into my surface at all. So I'm just going to start by filling in that first kind of tick of the leaf. Then I'm going to get a slightly smaller bit, and again, just fold back that end. And I will be doing this, unfortunately, a little quickly and crudely for expediency, but I will show you the entire process. So again, put it up into that one. Next little bit, this bit's a bit bigger, so I'm going to use a slightly bigger pinch. And that's going to go up into that little tick of the leaf. And we get a nice little bit of overlap, so we don't want it all falling apart. And I'm working over it very, very lightly, you can see. So I've got my template sort of filled. It's all very loose. And then pull off another bit. We go up into that part. And last couple of bits. And this is one of the things I feel that the templates do bring to the table, is you can get some really, really consistent results. The Buttercup leaf set, or the Buttercup set, if I can get it on the close up, it's 4 templates. You have a large leaf, a small leaf, and the 2 petals. And let me get a leaf in here. That's the large leaf. You can see how beautifully intricate that is, and it gives you such really nice results. So I'm just going to finish off my little leaf, and I haven't turned this over yet. I'm just giving it a little bit of a wiggle just to loosen any fibres, but this really is something that you want to do so lightly. And this last little bit I'm just going to roll, with my fingers being in the way of the camera. I know, turn the project. I do talk to myself. I do warn everybody who has not been on a broadcast with me before. This is the unedited me, and for that, I'm sorry. I do a lot of filmed tutorials, and I get to edit out all of the insane laughing that I do because I crack myself up whilst I'm doing things. So there we go. Right, I've got my template filled, so you can see there. I would point out that my flat mat is currently just on my surface. I would normally have a foam pad underneath it, but for this camera angle that I really wanted to show you down inside the template, I opted for no foam mat, so felting without the aid of a safety net. No, the flat mat is lovely, and it is a real dense surface, so when your needle hits it, you know, you don't end up driving too much, and you can see that the bottom's not very hairy at all. So what I would do now is I'm just going all over it, all over, and I haven't changed my needle. I'm still on my super light needle, my 40 spiral. I'm going to go all over like so, and then I am going to turn this over and felt the other side. And just keep going over it. The thing I like about the lighter needles is they do give you time to work with the wool. The larger needles, particularly in such small intricate shapes, can sometimes felt a little too aggressively. There we go. So that's the first kind of felt of it, and it's still a little bit loose, and I would actually spend a few more minutes going over it and felting it down on both sides. You will perhaps notice that the template has this hole in the bottom, and there will be a full tutorial for the entire Buttercup set on my YouTube channel pretty much after this broadcast ends. This Buttercup is, I don't know if some of you know, is a brand new launch. In fact, I'm going to come back over here. Hi. The Buttercup is a brand new launch that we decided that I wanted to do for this particular broadcast because you know, it's such fun, and it's given me an excuse to finish the Buttercup because it has been something that I've wanted to do for ages. And this is the Buttercup set, and this isn't on the website yet. This will be on the website in, well, just after the broadcast ends and I have a cup of coffee. But that's oh yeah, hang on, Pixie Bee. She said, but don't forget this. Some of you who've been in the Makery group, the Mum's Makery group, have known that I've been teasing a little bit, just a little bit, and I have been saying that I'm going to do something special for this broadcast, not just the launch of the Buttercup, but I'm actually going to do something special for the broadcast as well. And what I decided to do, which threw the Makery into utter panic, was this. And this, if you buy the Buttercup in the next 24 hours, so after this broadcast ends until tomorrow evening, if you buy the Buttercup set, you'll get this absolutely free. And what's in here is everything that you need to make this and this. You get it all. Because I was like, oh, I don't just want to do it more. Oh, no, we'll do it all. So you can make this cluster, and the video that's going to be on the YouTube channel, the Mum's Makery YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/mumsmakery. That's where the broadcast, sorry, not the broadcast, that's where the live, not the live video. What is it? No, she's left me. She's abandoned me. What's the word I'm looking for? Tutorial. That's the goodness me. Yeah, now she's chipped in. She's like, tutorial. Oh, thanks, B. Cheers, mate. Oh, they can hear you through my headset. Oh, good. That's nice. Shall I turn you down a little bit? There you go. She's whispering now. It's really bad. So you'll get everything in that kit to make this little cluster. That's all of the wires, the tape, the fluff, everything that you need to make this. And this. So, but you can't get that until after the broadcast has ended. So, but yes, so free gift. I'm going to go back to doing the Buttercup now. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to go all over, and I would probably spend a few more minutes doing it, but oh, I'm off camera. Look at that shape. Isn't that amazing? And this, as I was pointing out, this wiring hole is a wiring hole. It's for actually putting the wires and armatures into a leaf. And the tutorial, the tutorial on YouTube is what will show you how to make the armatures, and there'll be an armature pattern and everything. So there. Right, so that's the leaf done. That's quite firm. It's not as firm as I would like, but it's firm enough for this. And then these two form the actual Buttercup head. And the weights and measures for this is to make the entire head, it's 0.5 grams. So effectively each one of these round petal shapes is 0.1 of a gram. And this is where you can see how the pocket scale really can come into its own, because you can weigh out these lovely small increments and they're just consistent every time. So again, this is the 2 petal and this is the 3 petal, and it's exactly the same. I know these templates, I've been teasing my group and I've been saying these templates are just so weird, and it is the weirdest template set I think I've ever done, but the result is just, it's so sweet. So I'm going to fold back that end, give me that nice neat rolled edge, and then I'm going to pop it into the template, felt all over, and give myself that little bit of overlap in the middle, like so, like that. And then another 0.1 of a gram. I'm going to turn my project round, fold it back like so, and just pop that into the template. And again, you want obviously the bulk of the fibre in your petal, and you're looking for a nice even covering. This template set is very, very small, but especially with the larger templates, and most of the template sets do have tutorials with them over on the YouTube channel. Most of the templates, you start from the outside and you start from the edges and you work towards the middle. So that's my sort of first pass of that petal. So I'm just going to tickle it off. Looks a bit of a mess, but that's all right. Back into the template. And then again, really lightly, I'm probably only using the first 10 mil of this needle. If you drive your needle and try to use all of it, what you will end up with is, let me see. So that's really driving it. And you can see that it starts getting really quite attached to the surface, and you end up with all of this fluff on the bottom, which just sticks out into your mat. So nice light needle all over. And then the firmer this felts, the less it will stick to your surface as well. So all over like that, and just keep going until it's really nice and firm. And if you've got a little bit of a thin spot, then just grab yourself a few wisps of fibre and just, you know, backfill it a little bit. There, you can see. And you just felt these. You do want to felt these really quite firmly though. We don't want these to be too loose because it's such a small intricate shape. So there we go. That would be where I would get that to. Probably go over it a little bit more, but I don't want to sit here just going round and round and round the same thing for you guys. You can see that you just keep working it, wiggling it. And again, this flat mat is, I don't know how I managed before my flat mat. I used to have it just on foam, and I would always find that I'd end up with a lot of my fibres, you know, would end up, and the foam degrades over time and stuff. And the flat mat is, I mean, I've had this for, oh goodness knows, quite a while now, since near the end of last year, sort of November, and it's still as good as ever. The felt topper, in case you're interested, we do the topper packs as well. And the idea is that what you do is you swap the colour of the topper depending on what you are felting. So if you were felting with white, you'd use a white topper, and if you were felting with blue, you use a blue. And it helps stop the sort of cross-contamination of colours, particularly when you're doing something like Christmassy, where you've got red and white, and you do a red thing and then you need to do a white thing, and then you end up with red fibre stuck in your white bits, and it just doesn't go well. So that's why we decided to do these felt toppers. Oh, I have a question. We have a question. Alicia, brush mats. Not really. I haven't. But don't get me wrong, guys. Felting surfaces, they are as much personal preference as they are anything else. What works for one person might not work for somebody else. I used to felt on rice mats as well, and rice mats, I feel, still are some of the best things for 3D sculptures, because you can sort of hammer the mat a little bit and get yourself a nice sort of dip, which will nestle your creature or your critter or whatever it is you're making. Because obviously I do a lot of floral. It's very flat and it's very petally and it's very thin. So the flat mat for me, I find, gives me an amazing surface, an amazing finish to my felting. But there is really no wrong way with felting, and it's something that I say a lot to people when I've done sort of demos and stuff. It shows and what have you. There's no real wrong way of doing it. Don't get caught up on, oh my god, I need every single needle. You don't. I use 3 needles. In fact, I use 2. My 36 star just rarely gets a look in at all. I usually stick with my spirals because the work I do is quite light and delicate. I use spirals, regulars, which are triangles. They all do the same thing. The difference with needle felting needles is the higher the number, the finer the needle. It's like florist wire. So a 42 is a lot finer than a 36. But it is personal preference, and it also can depend on the wool that you use. Our wool felts really quickly anyway, so you don't need an aggressive needle. It's all short fibre, so you can get that beautifully smooth finish. So, you know, brush mats, I did use one once. I didn't get on with it, but they most certainly do have their place. My advice is try it and see what works for you. You will, as you sort of continue down your felting journey, you will try different things. And I started with foam, and I think the very first thing I ever felted on was a 35p cast sponge from Wilko's. So, you know, if you just want something to try and have a go, you know, but you've got to remember that there are so many different variations that you find what works for you. There's no wrong way, there's just the way that works for you. So, but yeah, I've not used a brush mat, but I know people who do, and I know people who love them. So it is just personal preference in that case. So we'll pop back over, and what I would do now is I'd continue felting this one. Look at that shape. It's so cool. I love the Buttercup, and you'll hear me say it in the tutorial. It's my absolute favourite. I've been trying to get this done for ages, and this gave me the perfect excuse. So to make the brooch, you want the small leaf, you want one of the 2-petal cluster, and then you'd want one of the 3 cluster as well. And this is where some of you are going to go, oh my god, no. But then what I do is I iron them, and I'm not going to attempt to iron on camera. I tried that once and it was a mess. So this is the leaf that I have just felted. This is the leaf that I felted earlier and have ironed, and look at the difference. And just so that you guys know, there are lots of my videos over on my YouTube channel that show the ironing process, but I have my my iron up on full steam and full heat. It's up on like a linen setting. If you're using your bestest ironing board and your bestest iron, then I think you might want to put maybe something down. But I don't iron anything but petals and leaves. So that's all my iron comes out for now. And here's the 2-petal that are felted. Same weight of wool, but oh, hang on. But look at that. Look at the difference. And it does help with this beautifully smooth surface as well. So, you know, you've got that. So there are all my parts for the Buttercup. I'm just going to pop back over, because I would like to tell you about a little thing that we've also got on, which is, wait for it, Christmas in July. Christmas in July. We're going to do it. I sort of did it last year, but this year, since I started broadcasting, we actually hold events. And Christmas in July, to be fair, it's been Christmas in my house since the beginning of June. And it really had, there's Christmas all over. I've had to clear the Christmas from behind me. It's hilarious. I'm just so glad that my neighbours can't see in, because they would walk down the road, look in and see the fact that I've got the Christmas tree up and go, well, they wrote off 2020. So, yeah, Christmas in July. If you have a look on the YouTube channel, there are previous events and broadcasts that I've done. The events specifically, there's 2 broadcasts in the day. We do games, we do giveaways. There is an event box, but you don't have to have the event box in order to join in. There's lots of free fun and free giveaways on the day and in the week leading up to it. So you do want to join the Facebook group for that, which is Mum's Makery. Sorry, it's facebook.com/group/mumsmakery. And don't forget to answer the questions, though, when you apply to go in, because that'll make Pixie's job easier. I make their job harder, but, you know, they love me, really. So, yeah, the Christmas in July thing, there is an event box. You don't have to have it, but if you want to join in Flingo and the raffle, that's in the box. You get everything that you need to join in both the live makes. One of the live makes does have a template which is only in the box. The first live make it's a free make, so you can use your own stuff, and there's all details and everything else about that on the website, which is mumsmakery.co.uk, and look for the Christmas special. So we're going to go back to our little brooch, and this all looks a little weird, I know, and it took me a hot second to figure out how to do this. But in order to make this little guy, the buttercups have all of these small petals, and they're all individual petals, but they all overlap, and trying to get that was a bit of a nightmare. I'm not going to lie. It was confused me for a while. But what we do now, see, if I do that, you can see that shape. See how that works? You don't put it that way. That's not a good look. But it goes that way. And what I'm going to start by doing is just a few stabs around that center, and you'll see it when you overlay these, you'll see it, there's just this sort of center bit, and that's what we're going to use to create that little dome, because there's extra wool in there because you're laying one over the top of the other. You can get this nice little sort of center bump, which I think is very buttercuppy. But buttery cuppy? No, oh no, we're not going to start making up words. Moving on swiftly. I'm just going to start by tacking it down very lightly and just getting it in place, just making sure that it's right in place where I want it. And I am using that driving motion now. If I had my foam mat underneath this, I would be driving a lot harder, but I don't want to annihilate my needle. So I'm doing a gentle and a gentle kind of driving motion, but you can see that little bump in the middle is really starting to take shape. So now what I do is I bring in this back leaf, and at this point it's purely aesthetics. You just decide where you want it. You have to make sure that it overlaps this centre bit in the back, but after that it's pretty much dealer's choice. You can decide however you want. Hold it all down, and I'm actually going to go up a needle for this. I'm going to use my 38 spiral, and first off I'm just going to drive through and just start getting it held in place. So nice and slow. You can see that the little bits of wool are starting to come out the back. And then once I've got that, you know, bang on, that's where I want it, then a good driving action all the way around that centre, because I really want to drive those fibres right out the back. And take your time with it, because this will form your little centre, and you can see how that's firming up and forming up right there. And there we go. So I'm just going to go round and round that a few more times. I would be using all of my needle, but you can see you've got that ring at the back where we're driving right through. Whenever you're doing any kind of driving motion, few stabs and lift, because you don't want so much fibre coming out the back that you do end up with it permanently adhered to your surface. I've done that so many times. So there, that's our little buttercup shape. And you can scrumple. See how that's putting some movement into those petals. We're not going to do that just yet because I've forgotten to put the brooch bit on the back. So I've got some of these little brooch backs, and these are 25mm, I think they are. Let me just quickly measure one. Yeah, 25mm, and we do have little packs of these on the website as well. And like with this one, it appears that I cheated and glued this one, which is most unlike me. If anybody knows me, then you know that me and glue, oh no. The glue gods were obviously kind to me when I did that. But what I have found is that these little brooches, they do have these little holes in. Now, for something like this, I was probably right the first time to glue it. And you can put a little bit of fibre over and sort of felt down in that, let me get my camera angle. You can sort of felt a bit down in that hole and felt a bit down in that hole and then felt it down either side. Because this is so thin, I don't think I want to do that. She's got the glue out. I hope you can't hear B at the moment. I know she's just sat there. And I'm doing it, look, without the aid of greaseproof paper or anything. But I don't want to do it. Let's see, which way round is this brooch going to go? I want it to look like that when it's being worn. So I want to put the brooch back that way. And I am pretty much going to glue this and run. So just put that down there, put that down there. Don't drop on my flat mat. And I'm leaving that now. I daren't touch it. It taunts me. Gluing things taunt me, and whenever you see any of my videos, you'll see, right, I'm going to leave this for like 10-15 minutes until it's dry. I leave it for like 30 seconds. And I get my needle. It's not pretty, people. It's not pretty. So, do I have to tell anybody about anything else? Pixie in my ear. She's like, no. Okay. Do we have any more questions? I know I've been over there kind of like felting, so I think she's been keeping quiet because you can hear her. I'll get her on camera one day, I will. I have gone rogue with the glue. That was completely spontaneous and unplanned. Gone rogue with the glue. So, I'm not going to touch that one because I usually end up with everything glued to me and me to other things. And it took me 20 minutes to unglue myself from my desk once. So, no. Here's the one I blue petered and made earlier. So, this little guy, that's basically what you end up with. And this is the template set. It is the beautiful buttercups. And oh, actually somebody was asking me earlier in a message, and I don't know if you are here, but if you are here, fluff tubes. These are fluff tubes, which are, I use them for storage of my wool and fluff, but they are on the website. But somebody was asking me earlier about wool storage, and I use fluff tubes. which is something that we also make. They're great. They hold about 50 grams beautifully, but you know, if you really give it some welly, you can probably get about 70 grams of wool in one fluff tube. And they come with like both ends and a couple of little card tags, so you can label them and everything. But anyway, fluff tubes. Buttercups. She's like, we didn't talk about fluff tubes. That's it, the rogue in me. That's it, I'm off now. So yeah, this is the beautiful Buttercup project. So this will be on the website pretty much as soon as we finish the broadcast, and you will get the beautiful Buttercups kit. This isn't a kit, this is not for sale, this is purely done as a free gift for the first 24 hours. But we sell everything on the website, the wool, the wires, the florist tape and everything, but there is everything in there that you need to make one of these and one of these. And I'm pretty sure there are daisies. There's one. My pointing is, it's always the way I don't think it is. There, daisy. There's a daisy, which is kind of the same sort of style. It's called Dainty Daisy. And I don't know, I feel kind of like a wild meadow theme coming on with maybe some more of these little flowers, who knows. But that's the beautiful Buttercup brooch. And like I said before, I do want to just quickly recap for you guys. The ICHF events are holding the Autumn NEC Creative Craft Show. There are early bird tickets available. There's also I think the early bird tickets are discounted. There's the VIP tickets, which are £35, and you get loads of lovely little extras. There's shop and drops and extra make and takes, and there will be measures in place for the COVID-19 so that everybody will be able to be safe whilst still enjoying the event. 4th and 5th of July is a date for your calendar. For two reasons. The first reason, the 4th, is definitely a date to add, as the Creative Craft Show will be live. It's 2 days of loads of different crafts. There's not long to go. I mean, there's lots of artists demonstrating both soft and hard crafts, and it's all free. You just need to follow the Creative Craft Show's Facebook page and tune in on the morning. Artist times and what they'll be making will be announced soon, so just watch that space. And of course, I must leave you once again. Oh, hang on, question. How much is the Buttercup template? I don't remember. I think it's £8.99. I think. Or 8.50, I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I was so unprepared. Pixie Bee should have been more prepared for me. If anything goes wrong ever, we always blame the Pixies. So, you know, oh my goodness, I've just bought £100 of wool. I blame the Pixies. Every time I go out and I want to do a new thing, I blame the Pixies. So, but I do want to thank you so much for joining me this evening. It has been an absolute blast. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have. I've so loved doing this Buttercup project. It's been amazing. And I do just want to leave you finally with that date of the 4th of July. We are holding our Christmas in July special. So there is an event box. It's not compulsory, but you do get a lot of stuff in there for all of the makes and everything. That's also on the website, as is a full list. There is a list of the day's schedule. There's a couple of broadcasts. We do Flingo. Pixie Bee is also known as Flingo Face. And I'll just leave you with that little nugget because one of the other broadcasts is where she got that name. We love her. We do. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. It has been an absolute pleasure. So there's nothing left for me to do now, but wish you all a very crafty day.